Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
So I'm in the middle of your course now. I'm already at the halfway point. Um, I'm I'm at the last part of registering and getting my case code.
Okay.
Uh, I I picked a couple next codes that or next. I'm sorry. It's
Next,
hard.
you said it
Yeah.
right. Next.
Yes. So, but I want to ask you. Is it okay to have multiple next codes? Because of what I was trying to focus on was doing like medical logistics.
Yep.
Just because right now I work at the VA, doing medical supply, and my background's in supply mainly, but I also have a little bit of like custodian work and but mostly and some pharmacy work. But that's pretty much it. But I'm trying to do my background and just go into the contracting space with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I figure it'll be more an easier transition to do it that way.
No, you're
Now,
right. You're right on target with that. You can have multiple next codes. You want to keep them kind of within the same wheelhouse. I mean,
hmm
not completely, because you want to kind of expand. For example, with me, my company is facility management, but we also do laundry that can kind of work in there. So I add laundry as a next code. It's not directly related, but it kind of is, because it's
yeah,
still cleaning. So
yeah. So that's okay. So that was one of my questions. Now do you have to specifically be in your next code? Like, say if I see something where I'm like, oh, I think I could do this, or um, say if it's just like something like I could provide shirts or something. I'm like, is that something I'm able to also approach too?
yeah, yes, you can. So that's the short answer. Of
Okay.
course, you're gonna pursue whatever you want. Now, when it comes to the federal side, what probably will happen if, say, literally you're on medical supplies and you see t-shirts, you might want to add that to your NAICS code. Add that type of NAICS code to your SAM registration for the federal side. Now, on the local side, will they ask for references? Probably. And so
hmm
you're just going to find a reference and you're going to have a reference.
All
Say,
right.
best t-shirt maker in all of your state. But on the federal side, they want to see that NAICS code. And they're really cracking down on the websites as well. What I'm finding in all the different programs I participate in is if
hmm
it's not on your website, you probably don't do it. At this day and age, they figure you should have what you do on your website. It's not the days of, oh, you don't need a website. It's no big deal. It's kind of a big deal now.
Yeah, I just got done creating my website about a week ago. I
You.
ha- I have time now because about last Friday I got in an accident. So
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
So like I got about a week and a half to actually get stuff done around the house, and I bought your course
A while ago. I
a
remember
while
seeing
ago.
the name. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, now I have time to actually get into it. Um, so that's why I'm devoting myself, because I'm getting to the point where I'm I don't I always been kind of like trying to do my business. I tried another business before this,
Hmm.
and then I fell off, and then now I'm like, you know what, I want to this is something I want to pursue. So
Good for you. Good. And I remember
yeah,
I saw your name. I was like, yes, I know he brought it a while ago and he's scheduling. That means he's back
yeah,
in. I love that.
yeah. It's definitely been like just getting back into the flow of things. And so now where I'm at is trying to accomplish something within the next 30 days.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
can dig it. You'll
yeah.
do well. I mean, you just have to follow, and not even just my steps, but just follow your own, like your path and stay on it. Like
Okay.
even if you're like, okay, I tried to see if I can do the medical supplies. I tried to see if I can do custodial, whether it's not your thing or just you weren't able to get anything, just continue the path. It's a
Okay.
path that can be won. That's a fact. I'm telling you from experience. So
Yeah.
don't give up saying, oh, this doesn't work. It may not work exactly the way that you're pursuing it. And then you just kind of like shift left and right, just like any other life thing.
Oh, yeah. No, you're definitely right on that. Let's see. I did have a couple more questions.
Sure, of course, please.
All right. So, so I was thinking like, all right, medical supply kind of close to courier service.
Mhm.
Um, right now I don't have no equipment, like nothing to start off. Like with that, that's where the partnership you say to reach out to other companies to do a partnership or something like in that nature, or because I'm like when you say like, oh, I don't want to be a middleman. I want to have my own money, be responsible over everything. Like I had the same type of mindset, you know, because I don't want to be cut out because somebody else that doesn't want to doesn't see my value of what I'm potentially to be able to give it to them. So that's why I kind of be like I want to be in charge of the overhead of everything.
So I will say now it's the middleman word that bothers me. It's not necessarily partnering or being a sub or being a prime and using subs. That's not the issue, because I do that. I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest, now that I have gone through this process multiple times, I didn't ever want to be a sub because, like you said, I don't want to be cut out. I don't want to be discarded.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But when it came to the money part, I probably would have been a sub first. Just hindsight, but it is what it is. We're here now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you get us a prime opportunity, you get a sub opportunity, but it seems like a good opportunity, still do that opportunity, not just because you feel like it's a middleman type thing. It's the middleman part that is dangerous, because you're just saying, oh, all I need to do is this. There's no such thing as all I need to do is, when it comes to anything in business, because there's going to be several hurdles that are going to come in that maybe you can execute flawlessly. You're like, oh, that's nothing. I've had life stuff that's worse than this. Or it could be something that's easily resolved. It's a part of being agile in your business. It's no problem. So yes, when it comes to you not having any equipment or anything like that, like, it depends on what it is. Like, if you're going to be delivering 10,000 laptops, rent a truck from Home Depot. Or if you have a pickup truck, use your pickup truck. They're not looking at that. I picked up that laundry that I had to do. I don't know if you saw my video about the laundry.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Woo! I took my husband's pickup truck and drove all the way. It was right on the border of Florida and Georgia. 7-hour drive. And the soldiers, well, they were Navy guys, so they hoisted the stuff onto the truck, strapped it down, and I was on my way in a regular pickup truck. Nobody was saying, "Oh, you don't have a commercial truck," or I think
what it is just like the idea of it being something incapable of doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, all right, is this something I'm able to accomplish? And for the most part, I think it is, because I am willing to just like take the seats out of my SUV and do it. You know what I mean? But I just I'm just going through the process. But
you're making it hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like, depending on what it is. Now, so you may not be able to get all of the whatever in the back of your SUV. That's just you knowing they're asking for 25 bags of heavy duty laundry. That can't go in there.
Yeah.
Rent a U-Haul, boom, or rent whatever you need to do, or borrow a friend's vehicle or something in order to do that particular task. All that stuff is going to be before you even win. When you submit your numbers, you'll know pretty much what they're asking for. There's going to be some variances, but you make it work.
Okay. All righty. Let me see. I do got a couple more questions.
Please, yes, this is your time. Where are you located?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So I live in Washington
State?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I used to be in the Army over here, but I got out in Texas, and then I'm originally from California, so I went back to California, and things just didn't work out over there, so then I ended up moving over here.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now I know you said about bonding, and how do I find out what NICS codes do need to be bonded and which ones don't?
I actually never had the question asked that way. It's not based on your NAICS code. It's based on the project. Now, construction typically requires a bond. But there's certain industries where, like some friends of mine, they never even heard of they never needed a bond. They didn't know anything about bonding, but it's usually stuff that's surrounding construction. But I've needed a bond for janitorial. And then there's some cities or counties that require a bond no matter what they put out. It could be anything, and they require a bond no matter what.
And then I know you mentioned it goes off of your credit, right? Because
it depends on
the credit's not looking good right now.
Look, neither was mine. Neither was mine. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make it. But
yeah.
like the guy that I included in there, and I'm updating the course too, so I can't remember if it's in my new version, which you'll have access to. All my students have forever access to the course as I make updates. But
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's no thing, because I had, of course, things have changed. So whether if it's not in the course, me telling you who the bond guy is, I can just send that to you directly. He made a way out of no way with a bunch of my friends, and I was like, oh, Sean, you are sent from the heavens. So with that, if you do need a bond, he usually likes to do he'll give you a bond letter, right?
Okay.
Because the SBA has like a bond program, blah, blah, blah. But he'll give you a bond letter. It may be a low amount, but say you find a project and it's like $1 million, and he's like, okay, you need bonding for $750,000. He'll usually get you a letter.
Okay.
So you just, you work with him. He is fantastic, and he's the insurance guy too. So if it's not him directly,
oh, okay, I think I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then I'll go back to that module.
Yeah. And if you can't find it, let me know, and I'll just send you his info directly.
And I was looking at that. Man, give me 1 second. It was like the quality control program. Now, I know you said that it's something that I could, just pull and take, but I really don't know what quality control is, as far, or what it should look like. I mean, yeah, I know you gave me the example, but can you, kind of like run down a dummy version of what quality control is?
So usually, and of course, most of the examples I give are based on janitorial and construction, right? Which are going to be probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest industries when it comes to regulations, and because you got regulations outside of the government contracting, you got to do for the city, state, whatever. So quality control, in essence, just as a program for anything, it means I am controlling the quality of this service. So if you're getting, I don't know, the grass cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amateur who's cutting grass, but then the owner of the grass cutting company, say True Cut, whatever, they have someone who's making sure that the person is going through and making those pretty lines that are on your grass. They're making sure that they're not cutting any of your wires in your yard. They're making sure they're not killing your dog. They're making sure that all the things that could potentially be a hazard, they are addressing it, saying, we know this is a hazard. Here's how we're going to address those things.
Okay. Also, then that's what the document lies out, like with the potential hazards. And okay.
Who's going to be who to call when something does go crazy. Quality control program is just something that is usually in place, and we as consumers don't even know.
Now, so being the business owner, then, that's something that I'll be like, all right, so specifically, the state's a courier service, so we gotta worry about registration, insurance.
It's for the consumer. The consumer will face. So the consumer may face, heaven forbid, that your driver gets into an accident.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do as the owner to make sure that this person's supposed to be getting their medical supplies? So you as an owner, your driver got into an accident with the stuff that's supposed to go to the person. What are you going to do about it? Because the person don't give a damn that the person got into an accident. Unfortunately, they still need their stuff. So you're telling them, in the case of an accident, we ensure that we have backup medical supplies at all times, in case there is something happens, or in case there's a spillage in the truck. We ensure that we have backup medical supplies that will be at your location within 5 hours. Like literally, that sentence would be a quality.
So put yourself as the consumer then when you're okay. All right.
They don't care if you're registered, even though you should be, but they don't care about that. They care about what happens if my shit don't get to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit. I think that's pretty much all the questions I had so far.
You sure?
Well, no, it's just. Oh, yeah, I did have another one. is it more like building the relationship and saying, hey, I got this contract. Am I able to you know what's it called? Joint venture with you, and are you able to do the work for me? Like, is it more like that, doing the paperwork on the other side and then finding the work or finding the workers to do it? Or is it something where I'm like, let me do it? Should I do, like, what I'm trying to get at is, should I do it myself first time, like, or everything will be done by myself for myself, or should I go with that route where it's like, let me join venture? um what's your
No.
recommendation?
Yeah, that's a very common question. And it's going to be a continuous question as you go through this, because it's literally every single opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So some opportunities you might be like, I can do this myself, or I'd
Yeah.
rather do it myself, or damn, it's too late, I got to do it myself. Or it's going to be, this person brings you an opportunity. They're like, hey, because you said you're a military, so you're an SDVOSB. So of course you hold a card that not everybody can get. So
Yeah.
someone might come to you and say, or you might go to them and say, I'm an SDVOSB, I see this opportunity. You got all the money, you've done this work, I've never done it, but it's SDVOSB, so you do all the work. And they're gonna be like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
And when it comes to that, whatever the contract requires, then of course, you have to perform 51%, blah, blah, blah. But the long and the short of it is evaluating, like, we got to take our mind out of this being government contracting.
Okay.
We got to look at this as any other negotiating thing, that if you were to negotiate even something with your kids, with your spouse, okay, I'm going to allow my spouse to do this in order for me to do this. It's broken down that simple. We just make it hard because it's something unfamiliar, right?
Yeah.
If you approach someone and you're like, I'm SDVOSB, I see this opportunity, I see that you have been doing this for 20 years, you're not an SDVOSB, do you want to partner on this? And usually, if they're familiar with government contracting, especially, they're gonna say yes. They're gonna say, oh, that's no problem. If they have time, they're not gonna look at you because you're brand new and say, don't talk to me. They're gonna look at you like you're bringing value, they're bringing value, they can't get the contract without you. And at the very beginning, you can't get the contract without them.
I like how you put that.
That's
Alrighty.
literally how simple it is. My smart people, I'll be like, come on, bring it down.
Yeah.
Y'all be like, I don't get it. Bring it down to real actionable steps that you can do. Just your negotiation.
Yeah. Okay. Man. I mean, when you put it like that, that makes it really. Yeah.
And it's practice. You're gonna meet some jerks, just like you would if you weren't doing government contracting. You're gonna meet some people who might try to get over on you, and you just have to. You might, and they may, and you're like, damn, I didn't see that one coming. And then the next one, you get more and more. You get smarterer, right? Because you're gonna see certain things. You're like, they're full of shit. They don't really do this for real, or they're trying to take over my business and boot me out. You can start to pick up on all those things the same way you would in any other type of situation.
Well, given that, I know you had said, to make sure you get an attorney that knows government contracting. Do you have a resource that actually like are you able to tell it to me, or give it to me in an email?
I'll send it to you. I thought, again, I may have put that in the first one or the second one, but yes, I have a guy, he's military. And I'm from the military, and I mean, he can just spit that stuff out. I'm like, I don't know what your brain is made out of, but he's like, well, FAR regulation, but says this is what you can do. And I'm like, okay. He's really,
so he's really on point on it.
Oh, he's on point. He knows all the stuff, even like, well, if you need to kind of, figure out another way to get around it, he's that guy. Because I've worked with large firms who weren't even this good. They didn't understand.
Oh, wow.
Guy, he's more like on the biz dev too. He's like, if you want to do something in advance in order to prevent this thing from happening before it happens, then he has resources for that too. I'm telling you, I've been through all of this stuff. I done ran through a bunch of people, spent a lot of money. That's something like I got something I have to share.
All right, well, I do appreciate that.
Of course.
Now, when it comes to like, just presenting the company or having your logo, is that do you feel like it's because I the way I made my website, I did everything myself because I was like, or it's affordable to do it that way for myself.
Of
But
course.
in addition, I would like, I don't know if this seems kiddish or like or not professional. So how do you, you know, I would like some construction criticism if you would
Yeah,
on my website and my logo and so on and so
I
forth.
would absolutely do that. And so
Um,
after this, like send it to me. Send
I
me
let me see if I put it in if I
in
can
the
put it in
chat.
the chat.
So I will say this, it's always a funny thing when people ask, because I also had to change my name when I started. So
Really?
it was rough because it was during COVID. So nobody was working at the IRS, period, like for a whole year. So I just picked the perfect time, February of 2020. That's when I wanted to change my name. So
So initially when I first created my business, I was doing because I seen the videos from JT Hustles
mhm,
before,
yeah.
and there was this one gentleman that I pursued the business that he was doing, which was helping people uh gain the money that's owed to them from a foreclosure, was like surplus funds,
Oh
and
yeah.
and I attempted that for a good like 6 7 months. I had 2 3 clients, and then I had a baby, and then some other stuff started happening. So then I just completely stopped because I couldn't afford to continue to do it.
Understood.
Then but I kept the business though. I kept everything aligned because I knew one day that I was gonna come back to it. So
Mhm.
I just ended up doing a DBA under because the so that way the name sounds more attainable as a services outside of what I was doing, because initially my name was MDR Recovery.
Okay.
So I ended up changing it to doing a DBA as Gem Services.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So that's what I was saying when it came to like me changing my name. It made people confused, but they're still confused even with Foresight now. So I'm like, whatever. But then you think about like GoDaddy, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, dude, does it really matter? So I just say when it comes to your name, you have to be proud to say it.
Yeah, and I'm more suited for gym services just because it could be anything. It could be a service of any type. So
Right.
that's why
Right. No,
well,
that's
thank you.
good. No, that's good because it's really all about you. Honestly, you got like Carol's daughter. You got a lot of names where you're like, but then it's a household name, so we just get over it. Google. I mean, just a
Yeah,
lot of different things that we just get used to. And they say confused minds don't buy, but like you said, your name is like corporate sounding. You feel proud to say it. That's really what matters.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And I'm looking at your site right now. Why do you
Alrighty.
feel like it's kiddish? What do you feel is kiddish about it?
The logo is just because
No,
it just it's because everything I did it like it was by myself, so I'm
I
like I don't
like
know.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if if it seems kind of like unprofessional or something where it's like, oh, why, I don't know. I was just
Look, you better wear that thing proud. Put that logo right here on your chest pocket when you walking on to these events. Okay. Don't worry about it's literally about how you feel about it. When I used to say my old name, I cringe. I just like, oh, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew it was time to change. But no, you are if you're as long as you're good with it, and people change their logos all the time. Say you do get to a point where you're like, I can't stand looking at this logo anymore for whatever reason, or you found a nicer logo. Like literally, one of my friends created my logo. Like I was rocking with my old logo, and he was like, I created you a new logo. I'm like, what? And then I was like, I actually like this a lot better. So then I just kind of phased the old one out and used a new one. It was nobody even noticed. I mean, we were still a
Oh,
baby
man.
business, but no one noticed, you know?
Yeah, well, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it looks great to me. I like it. It goes with the name and everything. So
Alrighty. Man, honestly that's all I had. I do appreciate you, you know,
of
taking the time
course,
to do this. Do you
no,
have any recommendations or?
join the Circle platform.
Oh,
You're in there.
I had one, but I had did it under a different email. I have like 6 different emails, so
Mhm.
I gotta find out which one. But yeah, I'll do it under my new email that I have.
Please do, and just go in there and communicate. People want to hear, your successes, and even those things like what you said. You were doing a business, and then you're like, that didn't work out. I might go back to it. I might not. I have plenty of businesses like that. I'm like, one day I'm going back. And then I'm like, do I want to? Maybe I will. You never know what life might have you go toward, you know what I mean? And then once you build up this business and then you sell it for millions of dollars, you might go right back to that, and it won't be as like you're hustling, you know, it won't have that hustle feel to it. It'll feel organic and natural. So people want to hear that.
Yeah, it's just I'm at this point where I'm like, you know, I feel undervalued at my job, and I'm like, man, this is some bullshit. Like, you know, and I feel like, and not to toot my own horn, but I am the best worker in there, you know, and even it got to a point where, you know, I was demanding, like, not demanding, but I was asking for the appropriate pay that I'm entitled to, and then a rebuttal was, you know, well, if you don't want to do your job, we could just let you go. Woo! So after that, like, that was about a month ago, and after that, I was like, man, fuck this. Like, yeah. So that's and then that's why I kind of slowly been at your course, and then now, like, since I have the time off, I just been hitting it hard. So
this is from one vet to another. I'm telling you, there's nothing special about me. I promise you. I just have just a crazy drive. That's it. I'm not smarter. I'm literally, when there was no information, there was no courses. There was no courses when I started. I was over here like, please, anybody got the information? And everybody was like working for the federal government. They didn't know anything about being a business owner in this thing. They're like, oh, you need to get 8A. And I'm like, but I was still a federal employee, so I couldn't do that. That was the only thing I knew was 8A and GSA schedule. And so I'm like, okay, what do I do? Because none of this stuff you guys are saying is making sense. I had to just continue to just read in YouTube University, and I didn't want to start the course because I'm like, I ain't gonna do that. But when people were like started giving out wrong information, and when people were asking me like, how do you do it? And they were really, really confused, and I felt so bad because I'm like, you guys need the real information, not this BS like, oh, it's so sexy and all you need is do this and then you're gonna be a gazillionaire. That's not the way this works. This is real business, and you can do it. It's like one of the easiest paths to wealth. Like, if you're looking at any other type of business, you got to build up. You've had other businesses before, and you're happy to have a $300 day. You know what I mean? Which is fine, which is great. That's a living, right? But when you're talking about making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and you've never ever been able to do that, that didn't even sound like something that could make sense to you. Yeah. It's like, what? This is easy compared to any other businesses I had.
When that day comes, Sheena, I'm gonna come on every platform. Like, thank you to Sheena. She's the best. I appreciate her. I would, you know, she changed my life.
The day is coming. As long as you follow, I'm not even gonna say follow Sheena's path. I'm gonna say follow the path of government contracting. This may be the very first step, and you got 12 more steps to go, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I got $1 million contract. Yeah. That's when you know.
I think that's where I just gotta knock out one step at a time. Because I'm trying to do everything all at once. But
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And that entrepreneurial spirit that a lot of us have, where we're like, oh my gosh, I got to get to the end so I can get $1 million contract today. It may not come today. It may not come at the end of the contract. But if you have any sort of drive and ambition, and you're a student, I stay a student of the game. That's another thing a lot of people don't do. They don't continue to learn about what's new and what's going on. I am just a nerd anyway. So I'm like, I can bring you guys all the information. You're not going to read through all these newsletters and all these classes and all these programs. I'm like, well, boom, guess what? Here's a new thing for this thing. And I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. Anyway. That's funny you say, because tomorrow I actually registered for one of those meetup things. And it's like the online government contracting workshop.
Good. Always. You never know who you might meet. One of my most lucrative contracts just ended in April. It was like a double connection through a program. It's like a person knew a person, but I already kind of knew her because we were in a program together, but it was a new program, so we didn't know we knew each other. So it was like, oh, you do cleaning? Oh, okay. We got this contract. We have no idea what we're doing. And then I just kind of got inserted into that because of that. You just never, ever know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very fun.
Man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime.
No, to reach out to you, like, is there because is there an email, or like, am I able to just message you on that platform?
You can message me on the platform. How did you find me originally? YouTube?
Man, how did I find you?
If
Dude,
you
I
found
think
me on,
I found you on that your very first interview with the gentleman that was like it was in the kitchen.
oh, casino?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and then
That was a long time ago.
I started looking at all your videos, and like your shorts that kept coming up on my YouTube feed.
Pew,
And I was
pew,
like,
pew,
man,
pew,
let me
pew,
go
pew,
check
pew.
this out. But then and then I seen your course, and I was like, shit, 2200.
Yeah, it's
But
more than that
yeah,
now.
I know. I seen it now, and I was like, man, fuck it. So then I bought it. But then like it was my fault that I wasn't serious about it. So that's why. So I the blame for that is me. But now I'm back at it.
I'm glad you're back at it because
Yeah.
I can just see that you are looking for a change. You're at that crossroad and you can do it. That's the main thing that people have an issue with is they feel like it's not reachable, and it's one of the most reachable, fastest ways to wealth. I mean, more than real estate. I did real estate. I did all that. I did it all.
I did. Yeah, that was my first. Was like the wholesaling, and then
Oh Lord, the wholesale.
yeah, and
Yes.
then I met some like so I met a veteran that got me into like the place was other people that had big pockets, but these guys weren't like these guys didn't align with what I thought could have been a lot better. So I was like,
Yes.
no, it just turned me off. So then I stepped away from that. And
Yep.
then yeah, and then I tried it again back when I came to Washington, and I was like, man, this shit's not working out. So
Yeah.
then yeah, so I tried it 2 times, and then the other business 1 time, and then now I'm like, you know what, it doesn't stop. So might as well try again.
Yeah, look, I am a huge proponent. Just like I was talking to my husband, he said, I'm not like you. I can't just jump into a million businesses, and if it fails, oh well. I'd be like, bloop, on to the next thing. You know what I mean? It's like whatever, there's so many things that people have done in businesses that have been around for 100+ years. You would be so shocked. And if you're like a business junkie like me, if you watch on the History Channel, but I think they also have it like on Hulu, the food that built America, those stories will make you say, okay, I haven't gone through anything. Like
Yeah.
people's lives got turned upside down 10, 11 times, and they just kept on trucking. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not gonna complain anymore because they went through way worse than I did, and the business is still going strong with no problems.
That's funny because I've been having that mindset where it's like, you know what, things could be worse. This day could be worse. So
Yeah.
yeah, that you're so right on that.
You just got to keep on trucking,
Yeah.
one day at a time. So